Welcome to the CWC podcast, Fantasy Football Special. Fantasy Football Special. Why is it a special? Because everybody right now is probably in their Fantasy Football Championship this week, unless you're in some kind of a weird league like I'm in. Since I just found out that I think my championship game in that league is in the last week of the season. Am I right? This is weird. But anyway, that's why we're here today. CWC podcast special. I got two jokers on here today that happen to be good friends of mine. I've known them for over a decade, well over a decade now. One of them you've seen before on the show. Jim is back with us. Jim, as a matter of fact, let's give Jim a round of applause. I can never find my round of applause. Here it is. There we are. Jim is back. There he is. There he is. One more time. There's Jim. Jim, it was the beginning of the year. I think we were only a couple, 2-3 games in. So perspective has changed big time. Now, Jason Peak is on the show with Say. Jason Peak is, like I say, another good friend of mine. Worked with him for many years.
Yeah.
Brother from another mother. Kind of basically. So there's a lot of history here from a friendship perspective and a fantasy football perspective. So Jason, a round of applause for him.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Hassan.
I cannot stand either one of these guys. But let me get the floor really quick. First of all, Jason, give me a quick intro. Tell me how you feel today, and then we'll pass it to Jim and do the same thing.
Hey, my name is Jason Peak. I've been in this league with you guys for 13 years now, which has been insane to think about. Been playing fantasy football with you guys since then, and it's been a fun ride. Many wins, many losses, but I think probably one of the better teams. I would say that top 4 out of the 10. That's basically it. Like Hassan said, we're basically brothers from another mother. And yeah, happy to be here.
All right, perfect. Mr. Jim, how about you, sir?
Jim Fraser here. So I'm in the championship game here with Peak. Somehow made it to the championship game with my 6-8 team, 6th seed. Just happy to be here. Like, I wouldn't imagine in the slightest I would be here. So really excited to talk about this.
Perfect. With that being said, I'm going to do something quickly. I am going to share my screen because I want the audience to see. This is our playoff bracket you should be seeing on the screen. As you can see, Mr. Peak, 12-2. Like I said, lap of luxury for this gentleman all season. He didn't have a care in the world. He didn't have a care in the world, this guy. He was just cruise control all year, as you can see, 12-2. In fact, who beat you? I need to find that out. Who beat you?
Who did beat me? I think it was Ron. I think Ron beat me once, which I had to come back on him to get that win later on. Mm-hmm. And I beat Jim twice this year, which I guess I have to say that now. But again,
you beat me
twice. And I beat It's been a fun ride. I'll definitely say that it's always good to beat Jim because Jim and I go way back. And if you want to give some context to our championship games, Jim and I have met in the championship twice now. So back in 2009 and back in 2012. And Jim, he beat me both times by at least 20 points. So I'm definitely looking forward to this game. I know I'm the favorite, but I don't put that up to the fantasy gods at all. No way. I'm taking it 1 week at a time, one player at a time. And as the days go on, it gets a little bit more and more interesting. I do say that because we just got news that came out maybe an hour ago that Derrick Henry will not be playing in this game, which is huge for tomorrow night.
Same thing happened to me last year.
But the funny part about it is Derrick Henry was the one that Jim passed on to draft Kelsey.
Correct.
Now, another interesting point is my other back that I have that I'm going to be starting is Saquon for sure. But my second back is Tony Pollard, which is the same person that Jim Rage dropped
I did.
back in October.
Totally
did.
So it's going to be interesting to see tomorrow. If Pollard balls out against you, that's got to be fate for dropping him. But let's see. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. What can I?
So, Jim, you're saying you're happy to be here. Now, let me put some context on that for you, and then I'm going to turn you loose. So when you took Kelsey, remember it was a somewhat controversial choice. There were some grumblings in the room, but you were stone cold set on that. You said I would do
I
it
would
again,
do it again today too.
right? Yeah. So, and then now he acknowledges the rage drop on Pollard because he told us that in the chat. That was hilarious, by the way. Rage drop, because yes, we've all been guilty of that. So Jim, what would you say? I mean, because as we saw on the screen share, your team went on a juggernaut run here in the last couple 2-3 weeks of the season, and then into the playoffs. You became the team that now nobody wants to play, including Peak. Peak doesn't want to play you either. So what happened, Jim? Tell us what happened. Who's doing it for you? It didn't. No Jalen Hurts, no problem.
Okay,
You tell us.
I think a couple of things that helped definitely. I made a series of trades. I acquired Jerry Jeudy and Deontay Johnson, and I don't think I gave up Keenan Allen. He's just been sitting on my bench all season, so I figured it was worth the risk just to get somebody in the lineup that's going to put points. But anyway, they've been getting me double digits each week. Kelsey has been my rock pretty much. It's just DJ Moore has definitely come around. I think just some of my players have just hit their stride. And one of the players I'm really honing in this week is Brian Robinson. I think this is the week Antonio Gibson is injured. So I hope they just let him loose. And, 2 touchdowns, 100 yards. Brian Robinson, saying it right now.
Because the Commanders have an interesting matchup. They're playing against, who is that, by the way?
Cleveland.
It's Cleveland. Okay, yeah.
Cleveland.
Yeah. That's an interesting matchup. I have some stakes in that game in my other league due to the fact that I have Nick Chubb. So we all know it's about who gets hot when they get hot. I mean,
absolutely.
So to piggyback to our other league for a second, Jim, my story is very similar in that league. My team caught fire late. The guy I played this week was the 12-3 juggernaut, just like Pete, right? I was playing him this past week. He had Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, and another big-time receiver. Like, he's got 3 top receivers. Like, it might be even Justin Jefferson or someone like that. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
Bunches of receivers. So I'm sitting there looking, I'm going to get killed. I'm going to get killed. Then I had Justin Fields, had a bad game against Buffalo. So I started in the hole. I'm like, okay, it's over. And he had Jared Goff.
Ooh, yeah.
But his receivers combined ended up giving him like 16 points for all of those.
So there's a chance.
So there's always a chance. It's every game, right? You could look at somebody's team and say, my gosh, this team is stacked. But it's just that one game, right?
Yep.
So man, when was the last time that you guys met in the championship league? Do we remember the championship game?
The last one was 2012. But I mean, it was that long ago. But see, the thing about it was we've always been our. If you look on the ESPN app, it actually shows our finishes. Our average in finishes is usually top 4. So Jim and I have been going back and forth as far as meeting in the championship. We met the first year we did this, and it's been back and forth as far as success goes. And I actually went a little bit further to see what the all-time overall win rate for each of us. And Jim's win rate has been total all-time has been 173 losses, 100 wins, 73 losses, 1 tie. For me, it's been 99 wins and 75 losses. So we're basically we're neck and neck. So I mean, it's wild when it comes to the way Jim and I have been staying on top of the news, staying on top of the trends, trying to stay on top of what teams are doing, and basically that's what it takes to kind of be essentially in the talks. Because at the end of the day, it comes back down to luck, but you have to position yourself based on what's occurring in the league for those players. So it's definitely an interesting matchup, no matter what the players are. But like you said, having those players hit their stride at the right times, all the different storylines that are coming together. I mean, who knew? If you told me in the beginning of this season that in the championship round I'll be playing Jared Goff at quarterback, I would have said you were a liar. So that just kind of just sums it up.
You bring up Goff. Jim, if you go back to the podcast show we did in week 5, I mentioned Jared Goff to you specifically. So we were talking about, are these dual threat quarterbacks, like, do we need to start looking at them with more value going into the next draft? And then I'm like, and what about these guys who just keep putting up numbers? Guys like Jared Goff, who aren't elite quarterbacks per se, but they put up numbers. They're good fantasy quarterbacks. And now here it is with Goff, right? So it's been an interesting year. I think there were a lot of weird, odd things that happened. I mean, did anybody think that Arizona was going to be this bad? I mean, you saw the peak. You taking Lamar and leaving me with Kyler set a big precedent.
Oh, yeah.
Lamar.
Yeah.
You got way more production from him than I got from Kyler Murray.
Oh, no, definitely. I mean, but those are just a little luck of the draws, basically, because I was going to pick Kyler if I didn't take Lamar. But I took Lamar, I think it was in the 5th round, I believe it was.
Yep.
It's the 5th round.
I was going to take him that round for sure. I was letting me grab him right now, and then you got him right before me. So I'm like, all right, I'll take Kyler, which I expected way more from Kyler.
Oh, me too.
On me. But
me too.
Expected a lot from the Raiders. A lot of people expected things from Derek Carr and guys like that who didn't do anything this year. So let me ask you guys this question. Do you like the new? This is kind of a little it's on topic, not fantasy specific, but do you like the new NFL playoff format, the way that it's done now, or did you like the old format? As it with the top seeds, the way that it lines up, just the top 2 get a bye, or top 2 from each conference. Does it seem? Is it any different to you at all? Does it make it more entertaining or not, or what do you think? Is that a non-issue? Does it feel any different?
So just to get a little back history on that. So it's always been the top 2, top 2 best records on each division or each conference, correct? Or was it just the top?
It was it the top 2?
You mean they get the bye?
Or is it? They get the bye, just the top.
Well,
right?
They changed it that only the 1 seed gets a bye, right?
It was the top. It was the top 2. It was the top 2, and they changed it to just the 1.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. But now you can get teams like, and I guess the way it fits with the play or the extra games in the regular season is you can get these kinds of things where you get a team that's a 7-8 team, who gets a playoff spot, right? But they get hot like what Jim did, right?
Yeah.
So it opens up more. It opens up more interesting matchups, right? Because watching the playoffs, one of those top teams is going to get knocked off by one of those 8 and 9.
Oh, always.
Weird team, like it'll be some weird game one game they just showed up and beat these guys. So I could see that happening. But I just found it interesting because it kind of fits with the fantasy parity that we see now, where you can have a team that just gets hot late. I mean, Jim got hot late. I mean, how many 6 and 8 teams did we have? 3? I think we had 3. Because
we had a bottleneck in basically in the middle tiers. You basically got into the playoffs, Jim, because you had more points for it, but you basically matched up with 3 other teams.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. So Jim, you were 6 and 8, along with Skiba, who was 6 and 8, and so both of you guys were tied for that last spot, but you had points scored.
Right.
Yeah.
If Skiba or would have won, because that's why I owe Dale that 6-pack of Stella, because he beat Skiba, and beating Skiba, that means we were tied in record, and I had more points of him, and that's how I ended up sneaking into the playoffs.
Yep. Because I beat you the week prior, which I thought I knocked you out.
In all intents and purposes,
and then
but
I know. But
I had some bad losses this year. I lost to Skiba's team. I lost to Hassan's team. No offense, Hassan, but you lost
to my team. Exactly. I'll take that. Hey, we beat the hell out of Jim's team. If he goes to the Super Bowl and wins it, I'll be like, hey, I beat the hell out of him during the regular year. So I'll take that. No, I started 0-5, and then I won 4 straight, and then I lost the rest. So it was a weird season. That was weird. It was very weird. But My running back situation was like yours, peak in the other league because I had Javonte Williams.
Oh yeah,
and I had Cordero Patterson, and I think they tore their ACLs like within a week or two of each other.
Yeah, those injuries, man.
Guys, at that point, I was scrambling for running backs. Antonio Gibson's not really a running back. he's more of a flex guy, whatever. Yeah. So it was just a rough. It was a rough season. I mean, even look at what was the trade? So what was the trade that? Who else was involved when you got Cooper Kupp? Because Cooper Kupp didn't really end up working out for you. But what were the other pieces that were involved in that trade? I forgot what that was.
So for the Cooper Kupp trade, I mean, that kind of goes back to what I was saying before. I mean, even though I had a great team, I drafted a great team throughout the entire season. I never stopped. I never got complacent. Never got comfortable. I always looked to make a move, look to trade for someone else. Jim, you can attest to that. I try to come after you for Kelsey, but always make a move. So for the Cooper Kupp trade, I reached out to Dale, and he was on the downturn on his season. He was looking to kind of make a change, so he basically moved his best piece. And that trade was I moved Pickens and Nick Chubb for Terry McLaurin and for Cooper Kupp, which actually turned out to be really big for me because I needed wide receiver depth. And losing Kupp definitely hurt because had he been in this game, I would have been my feet would have been up. I wouldn't worry about anything Jim did. He could have started anyone. I would not have worried. But that goes back to basically having depth. So that definitely helped me out. And the other trade that I did as well was acquiring Mark Andrews. At the time, I had Hawkinson, which he was middle of the tier at the time. And I wanted to create the stack with Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. So for that trade, I basically gave up Chris Olave to get back Mark Andrews because Olave had keeper status for next year. So kind of added the incentive for
Eddie. That was
for Ed.
Yeah,
Eddie. Yeah.
I remember that trade. There were some rumblings and grumblings over that trade. There were a lot of rumblings and grumblings over the Cooper Kupp trade. As a matter of fact, Dale, people are still asking, what were you trying to do? Like there are still people that are asking that question. It's become conspiracy theory, Dale.
But look at it. I mean, but this is what I was saying. Any trade is no guarantee. Yeah, that Cooper Kupp trade looked a little odd, but I mean, for what he received, it made sense. Chubb is still, I would say, top 10 at RB. I mean, he kind of flanked off a little bit, but for what I received, it hurt for me, but it was a risk that I was willing to take to better my team. But at the end of the day, it all comes back down to depth and having players that you can fit in and kind of trying to read the game before it happens, so to speak, or take your best guess. So happy to be here for sure, though.
So Jim, do you have any lineup issues? I mean, not to give your strategy away necessarily,
1 second.
But do you have?
I'm going to bring on a special guest. Come here.
Oh boy.
What's up, gentlemen?
Oh, there he is. What's going on?
Yo.
Eddie, what's going on?
Eddie a cheer too, man. Look at this. Surprise guest. Hey, did we speak? We spoke him into existence?
We did.
I just said.
You did.
We literally just said, hey, who was involved in that trade? It was Eddie made that trade. Oh, and then Eddie walks into the video. Hey, this is not scripted,
Nope.
Everybody. I promise this is not scripted. This is the craziest thing. So, wow. I'm guessing you live
I do,
in the
yeah.
area.
So congratulations, you guys. I hope, the best man wins. And you guys did
Thank you, man. Thank
really
you,
great at coaching and putting in the right players at the right times. And this is my second season in the league, and I really love this league. You guys are great. I like the talk and
thank you.
The knowledge that you guys put on your team.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a good time.
Thank you so much.
Hey, and you made the playoffs this year. So, hey.
Yeah. I told Eddie, I told you weren't out, man. I told you. I said, Eddie, you're not done yet. He said, no, man, if I lose this week, I'm out. I'm like, you're not done yet, man. It's never done until a strike.
And believe it or not, if I would have had traded Andrews to you to get Olave, I probably wouldn't have made the playoffs because Olave gave me some real solid games.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
You see that? I'm telling you. All right, now give me Olave back, man. I want him back now.
Wow. Awesome.
That's all good. That's all good, Eddie.
Awesome, man. All right, buddy.
Thank you
for dropping in.
Thank you, man. Thanks for jumping in, man.
That was perfect. Hey, man, talk about perfect timing. The guy we wanted to query about the trade, he walks right in.
Nice.
Pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Eddie's one of our newer guys on the block. He took over a team. We've had a couple guys who've had to drop off over the years, but we got a great guy in Eddie, and that's what it's all about for us. This league is kind of like a little separate family.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
We've had some stepchildren come in and out, but
yeah,
the main like kind of core of us that were there from the birth of the league.
09. Yep.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty special for us to be going on this long, and now that we have a podcast platform that we can enhance the experience with, because I think it'll enhance it for everybody. My idea for next year is to have a weekly show where I have somebody from the league come in each week, and we do something, and we just talk about we talk about, and it'll even start like preseason. We'll do some some pre-draft specials and stuff like that, and just kind of as we kind of build out, because one of my goals for the year is to build out a little bit more of a sports segment to the channel. Mm-hmm. So I think fantasy football is a good springboard, and we'll go from there and just branch out. So
absolutely,
it's gonna be exciting. Now, what we are gonna do, and for all of you guys out there, I know you're tight with y'all's wallets. I need to know who do I owe championship rings to? I know, Jim, I owe you 3, potentially 4.
Let's go.
I'm gonna.
Depending upon how it goes. I know I owe you 3. You've never received one. We are going to do a ring ceremony specifically for Jim.
I'm gonna need another one to add to this.
Yes.
I'm gonna need another one to add to this. This one's. I'm gonna add the new one this week.
Okay.
This week.
That is hot.
He went.
Yes.
I so Jim. Now that you know you're getting at least 3 rings. Now you know you got to get a case.
Of course.
Now you got to get a hell of a case. Like especially if you beat him.
Oh yeah.
You got to get a master case. That'll be a huge.
You need to get a trophy.
I'll definitely figure something out for sure.
So I owe you 3, potentially 4. You have both of your rings, as we can see, right?
Yeah, I got both of my rings. I'm gonna need. Yeah.
Last year, Adele has his rings. I think Jim is the only one who we owe rings to. I believe. But
yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. But let me know, because I'm actually
Skiba won. I don't know if he got a ring yet though.
Okay, yeah. I'll send it out on the chat, and because I'm gonna go ahead and order them. I want to order just the whole lot, bang. And then I'm thinking what we can do is we can all get together for a dinner or something. Just shoot the crap somewhere, and then we can do a little presentation.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Jim deserves at least some kind of a presentation at this point.
Of course.
Of course. My rings have been on back order for like 7 years. I can't.
He needs a Letterman jacket pretty soon, man.
Yeah. So we'll definitely get Jim his rings, and again, and I'll order them after obviously this championship game, because this championship game we're all going to be watching intently to see what happens. The chat's going to be live that game. At least I'll be saying. Yeah. If nobody else is saying anything, I'm going to be saying shit.
You were kind of speaking, Hassan, about like my lineup. If you look at my lineup, all my players are pretty much at 1:00. My second flex, I have Deontay Johnson. His game is at 8:20. But I'm thinking if I need a boost, I might put in Gabe Davis. I might just go boom or bust Gabe Davis for Monday night. If I really need I
can see that.
I know Gabe Davis had his game already, but maybe he's got another one in him. So
but it's Cincinnati, so that's going to be a shootout.
So while you're talking about that, Jim, I'm actually going to bring up on the screen the actual matchup, so the audience can take a look. So this is the matchup that we're looking at here. Here's the 2 teams. As you can see, Jason, you're about a 60% favorite, projected for 158 to his 132. Jared Goff is playing against Chicago. Interesting divisional matchup. Jared Goff, can't say nothing bad about him. He's been putting up numbers this year. Yep. Gardner Minshew. Yeah, wow. What did Gardner Minshew do last week? How was that for an audition?
Hurts might play. So he put up if Hurts is playing, he's in there.
Yeah. So you're good to go on that. Saquon Barkley against Indianapolis. What was supposed to be a vaunted Indianapolis defense.
Yeah.
Matchup. Leonard Fournette, Carolina. That's a big game, by the way. That Tampa and Carolina game is basically division. So that's a big time game. You got Brian Robinson Jr. against Cleveland. We spoke about that. But Pollard is questionable, huh?
Yeah, he's going to be a game time decision, and that's going to be big for me, because if he doesn't play, I don't know what I'm going to do. I may have to go Gus Edwards, but that's gross. I don't want to do that.
Interesting. DJ Moore against Tampa, CeeDee Lamb against Tennessee. Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's been putting up bonkers numbers all year. Jerry Jr., it looks to be questionable. So Jim will look into that. And then there's
he actually didn't practice today.
I didn't hear
Judy.
That.
Yeah.
And then there's the Kelsey and Hockenson matchup at tight end. And then the flexes are Chase and DeAndre Hopkins against Godwin and Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson also appears to be questionable. I have Deontay Johnson in the other league. That's a bit of a concern for myself. So that's the matchup. As you see, it's going to be very interesting. And there's big games on the slate too. These games are important for divisional standings and potential playoff spots. So how fitting for these matchups. So all right, who's got the warm and fuzzies? Like who believes deep down that they're going to take it? Jim, are you gonna manifest this one?
You guys kind of know me. I'm a pessimist, so I kind of get harassed.
Yeah,
I don't want to say harassed, but you guys kind of give it to me a little bit because I say, "Oh, fantasy guys," I kind of complain a little bit. It's kind of warranted, but maybe.
It works, exactly.
Just kind of flip it on its head.
Yeah. Exactly.
Every time you go on one of those, my season's over. I'm entertaining trade offers. I might have a fire.
Reverse psychology.
That's what I do. Yeah, I go in the locker room and like, guys, you got to bring it this week. The bench is here. I have a bunch of people that are ready to take your guys' spots. So we're winning this week. So.
And it worked. I mean, here you are in the championship game, which is at least you have some comfort because you get this far, you're guaranteed to get a decent payday anyway. So it takes a little bit of the sting off, even if you lose after a great run. But you still want to win, especially in this matchup with you two.
For sure.
We just got done talking about trophy cases.
Yeah, for sure. For me, this is more than money. The money is great, but I'm very competitive. I want to win this, especially after Jim beat me twice in the Super Bowl. I want to take you out, Jim. No mince work. You're my boy. But I'm trying to take you out, man. I don't want to get too happy because that's when you lose. But nah, I want to take this. I have some pretty good matchups. The 49ers going up against Stidham after Carr got benched. That has
defense has been amazing. I have them in the other league, in the CBS league.
Yeah, that team is
carrying me. They've been giving me 25, 30 points. And they're matchup proof. They had one bad game during the year, and it was actually the week that I benched them. I actually put Tennessee in for them again when they played KC. And
that makes sense. That makes sense.
I got -3, and Tennessee gave me 25, and I ended up winning.
Yeah.
So.
Tennessee has been solid.
Wizardry there. So no, San Fran's defense is like a difference maker. Like they
absolutely.
So I'm excited about having them this weekend as well. I mean, against Las Vegas, who Carr got benched or he's hurt.
No, he got benched, and actually, it's a little more back history to that. He's benched for the final 2 games, and you remember he just signed his contract extension over the offseason. So there's a clause in there. If he gets injured, that's the only way that essentially they would have to pay him out. But if he doesn't get injured, they could potentially move him and not have to pay him all that guaranteed money.
Makes sense.
So I think they're done with Carr in Las Vegas, unfortunately.
Now they're done with Carr, but that doesn't mean that Josh McDaniels is gone. Or what do you think about that? Is he coming back?
No, Josh McDaniels, the head coach, he's going to be there. They already heard the ownership basically trust him. And they allow him to kind of go through these growing pains right now to get the team right. So it's basically his show. And basically, from what I've seen and what I've seen in the news and reports, the beat writers, they're basically saying they're reading between the lines and they're done with Derek Carr.
Makes sense. I mean,
which is big. Look at Devontae Adams. He just went there for Carr, but I don't know, man.
That's crazy.
I
mean, and I was one of the people that thought that the Raiders were going to be really good this year.
Yeah,
I was one
me too.
Sure, when they got Devontae Adams, I was like, okay, now what is the excuse now? You got a big time receiver.
Yep.
Derek Carr he was one piece away. You had Waller.
Yep.
But now Hunter Renfrow. I know Hunter Renfrow got hurt like early in the year, so he hasn't been there. That team's been snake bitten. It seems
a lot. Yeah, they had to depend on Jacobs, which he did. He had a great year, but losing Waller, Renfrow, that was a lot. That was basically a good chunk of their offense.
Yeah, too much to now. Pete, I guess since we're talking real football here, I'm going to ask you guys some real football stuff here. So, Dolphins, Tua, he's done for the season too, right?
There's no word on that yet. But I mean, three concussions in the same season. That's tough. I mean, how many times can you fall on your head the same way? Yeah. And the fact that wasn't called out and they allowed him to continue and then to go on to throw 3 interceptions in the game, that basically cost the Dolphins that game. But more so, they should have looked out for Tua earlier. I mean, especially after what happened against the Buffalo Bills and against Cincinnati back in, I think that was week 6 or 8 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an entire mess. I mean, I'd rather just roll with Bridgewater, let Tua sit. And I'm a Dolphins fan, diehard Dolphins fan. I'd rather just let him sit. Because if he gets another one now, I mean, you were talking about potential permanent damage. I mean, who knows what could happen with that. Look at the Bears quarterback from the 80s. I forgot his name. But he went through a lot of different CTE or head trauma and things of that nature. But, I mean, definitely got to take that seriously, man. It's a game of football, but your life is more important. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah. Now, Jim, let me ask you something very interesting because Jim, as I've said before, is our X's and O's guy of the league. He's the guy that's in the chalk. Like Jim's in the playbook. He's looking at the sets that they run and all those things. So Jim lives and breathes football. Yeah. Jim, should Belichick retire? Has the game passed him by? Because we're starting to hear some rumblings that they're saying he's a bad coach now, but that the game, like they're saying he's starting to look like Parcells looked at the end when Parcells was on Dallas. You know what I mean? Where it kind of looked like the game was just like he's finally getting too old, and the game is passing him by. What do you think there's any that, or does he just not have the right quarterback because he can't seem to get the offense right? The quarterback, you can't get the quarterback. You try Cam Newton, you try Mac Jones. Who's the other guy?
I don't think he puts the right people around him, like the defensive. Like from what I remember, like he didn't even have an offensive coordinator. He had a bunch of like defensive coordinator and one randomly became an offensive coordinator. So whatever was going on there was a mess. And maybe he's just like, I don't want to say like just packing it in or just like chilling. I don't know. It's very, very weird there.
I've won enough.
Yeah. Just like,
enough. It is what it
whatever.
is.
I'm going to hire my guys back. I think they were just a bunch of Belichick guys that were fired from their head coaching jobs that brought him in and be like, all right, guys.
He has his kid on the staff. He has Matt Patricia as his offensive coordinator. So people are saying, does he even care? Like, is he taking it seriously anymore? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because the Patriots, this doesn't seem like the Patriots. I don't know if they're still mathematically alive for the playoffs, right? I think, but
maybe I believe so. Yeah.
Does anybody? No one's worried. No one's scared of the Patriots, right?
Not anymore.
They don't conjure up that fear that you get. As a matter of fact, let me ask you guys that. Conjuring up fear. Who are the teams that conjure up fear? I say, does KC, Buffalo, Cincinnati, San Fran, are those the 4 teams? Is there somebody else?
Cincinnati is still in there, but the loss of their right tackle Collins is huge. That can't go understated because that's basically Burrow's protection right there on his blind side. But I think Buffalo is probably the most dangerous team because they're the most hungry. They've gotten close the last few years, last few seasons. They've been top of the division, top of the conference, and they just can't get to that last game, which they're getting closer. Every season they get a little bit more closer. And I think the addition of Diggs with Allen, I think that pair there is dangerous. I think they get into the right scenario. They could definitely take it.
Would they be your favorite to come out of the AFC? Buffalo?
I'll say that, yeah. Even though I'm a Dolphins fan, I hate Buffalo, but for them losing to KC as many times as they have, and Cincinnati, they're looking to definitely run the table this year if they can keep it consistent. But the loss of some players, the loss of Von Miller was huge. So it's gonna be interesting. It's wide open right now for all those teams, honestly, to me.
So Jim, you give me the NFC. Pete, that was a good analysis. AFC, you give me the NFC. What's your power tier? Who are your top 2 teams, 3 teams that are scary? Or who do you think is actually going to end up in the Super Bowl?
Well, I mean, you got to start at the top, right? The Eagles, their defense is great. Their offense is to be reckoned with. I mean, and they got Goddard back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And San Francisco.
Yeah.
I think that's the top tier right there. You could maybe throw in Minnesota, but I
was going to say nobody said anything about Minnesota.
I don't trust them. I don't know. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
But I'll probably be
either.
wrong. But it's definitely Eagles and San Fran for sure.
Now let me give you this scenario before we wrap up. Is there a scenario where Brady makes the playoffs and goes on one more magical run and nobody can believe what's happening and he's doing it again and he goes on the road to San Francisco and he wins in San Francisco and then he has to go on the road somewhere else and then he wins there too and then he ends up in the Super Bowl? Is that all fantasy? Is that not going to happen?
No, for me
is the second part of the question. I'll let you guys rip. Does he end up on San Fran next year? Go.
Ooh, interesting. I think Brady was on my squad the last couple of weeks, and I think he's done when it comes to his play, his communication with his receivers. I mean, obviously, he's just basically narrowed in on Godwin because he's the quick route runner. His connection with Evans is completely gone. There's no deep balls. Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it just seems like the entire offense has just been completely disconnected. The defense hasn't showed up, and they're just barely leading their division. What are they, 6-8, 6-9?
I think it's 6-8. Yeah,
gross.
Aren't they? And I think they're tied for the lead with Carolina, I believe.
Yeah,
I think they're like 6-8 or somewhere around there.
That division is.
That's
bad.
a weird.
So, Tampa
who's going to make the play as a team with 8 wins?
And Carolina 6-9. That's why this game this weekend is so huge.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So you believe he's done. Now, second part of the question, does he go to San Francisco next year? Because there's some rumblings that they're not sold on Trey Lance yet. And he's coming off an injury. There's rumors that Brady wants to play one more year. He'd like to go to his childhood team. He would love to play in a Shanahan offense. He'd love to have a dominant defense behind him again.
He's just playing around now. He's just doing whatever he wants to do.
Does he go to San Francisco? Does he end up there, or is this hogwash?
Honestly, I wouldn't put anything past Brady. If Brady almost came to Miami,
No.
He can go anywhere. He can go anywhere, from my opinion.
Yeah. Do you want him in Miami?
Nah. At the time prior to Tua, I would have taken anybody. I mean, who wouldn't want the GOAT? Because I hated him so many years just because of how good he's been. But I have nothing but respect for his game. But at this point, what is he, 41?
No, he's 40. He's my age. He's 45.
So he's old.
I think his birthday. He's old. Yeah, exactly.
He's old. It's old.
That's why I said my age, because I think literally like him, and I think and Floyd Mayweather's birthdays are all like within a month or two of each other.
And he's still,
we're all literally. So,
and he's still playing. It's amazing. It's amazing what he's doing.
Does Tampa have a magical run in them in this particular playoffs? And does Brady end up on San Fran next year?
No, Tampa does not have a magical run or anything like that. It's over. But I will take Brady going to San Francisco. I think if he's going to want to, if he wants one more ring, that's where he would need to go. And if they want him, that's such a good situation.
Oh man, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
And he would take short money to go there. He'd take short money because he wouldn't ask for $50 million to go.
Oh, he lost a bunch of money with what was that? FTX.
Yeah.
Oh, FTX, yeah.
Yeah, he may tell him I'm actually broke, guys. That's why I'm still playing.
Seriously.
I'm looking for a long-term deal here. I'd like to see a 5-year deal. I see myself playing
That's
for
right.
50, guys.
Mm-hmm. You could roll me out there,
But Jim, to your point, you said you see him on San Fran. Do you see him? But you could see him winning on San Fran too, just because of the sum of all those parts.
McCaffrey, I mean,
Samuel, oh my gosh, right?
Ayuk, Kittle, what?
Yeah.
Yes, do it.
Him with Debo was basically like Edelman.
It would be another Tampa when he first got there. If you think about it, he had all those weapons on Tampa. If you look now, look how much he misses Gronk.
Yeah,
he's used to having a big short-handed tight end like that. He would have that in San Fran, right? He would.
That's true.
He'd have a big-time tight end. He'd have McCaffrey out of the backfield. He's got Debo Samuel. There's weapons everywhere.
Yep.
Do they only need the GOAT? It's going to be interesting to see because he's not going to retire. He's not going to retire. I
don't see that happening either. Especially everything that's been going on.
Let's say they bomb out and miss the playoffs entirely. Like he doesn't want to go out on that note.
Nah.
I think he's too proud for that.
Yeah.
And he'll end up on another team. I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll even end up on the Colts. They've tried everybody at quarterback. They've tried me at quarterback one time this season. The Colts are what happened to the Colts? That'll be a whole
Oh man.
Itself. What happened?
Oh man. Oof, what a downfall, man.
But so guys, like I said, even though it pains me to say this, congratulations. You have both made it.
Thank you.
Give me one more round of applause here. These gentlemen made it. It takes a lot to manage a team, successfully navigate them into, let alone to the playoffs, let alone to win in the playoffs, let alone to get championship game. Is very, very difficult. A lot of luck involved, but a lot of strategy as well.
Absolutely.
So these guys have proven, just though we'll pull some historical timelines and some stats so that you can see that it's not all luck, because these two gentlemen have consistently been in the top 2 or 3 or 4 every single year, and that doesn't happen by luck.
We have just to add to that, we have both Jim and I both have 6 top 3 finishes in our 13-year season.
Wow!
So that just kind of
so these guys are that's why that's why they're in championship game for a reason, right? So so appreciate these guys being on the show, guys. Thank you very much for being here. Like I said, we're going to make this a habit. We're going to make this what I hope to be a weekly segment for next season. This gives me time to just kind of flesh it out and find a format. I want to try some call-in shows. We can host call-ins, have people call in with just different. I'm thinking about a who do you start segment, right? And we'll have people call in and we'll say, hey,
that's cool. Yeah. Give opinions.
So guys, man, I got to start one guy at flex. I've got this guy. I've got that guy. What do I do? And we kind of give our feedback. I think that'd be fun,
be awesome,
right?
Yeah, that would be fun. That'd be great. Hey, we can also get some trade ideas going on as well. Maybe we can actually get some inner league conversation going to actually get more trades going.
Yeah,
probably be a nice forum for that.
And I think this platform will create a lot of dialogue between us and kind of just get us more involved, especially if it's something we're doing weekly. It'll liven up the season, and I think it'll be fun. Something to
it'll be a great thing for sure.
To our next 13 years, because we're not going nowhere. We're going to be here. We're going to be here till we're going to be an old man. I'm already in the way to old man. I think Dale's really old. Now we got guys like Bloom that are super old. Like if we showed you Bloom, Bloom by now must have like Rip Van Winkle.
Oh, no.
He's like, but I'm young. I'm young.
I got to think the guys that are older than me. I mean, there's not that many of them. I think there's like 2.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Maybe 3. I don't know about Jose, but the rest of you guys, I'm older than you guys. But appreciate you guys for being here.
For sure.
You guys.
Thank you.
Anything you want to say before we wrap? Hey, Peak, I see you got the Mamba behind you.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mamba mentality. I use that in everything that I do. You always do it to the best of your ability and never give up. So that's why I have that here. I have sports memorabilia all over my room, but I want to make that the image in my background. But my last word that I wanted to mention, I think for our league, what we should also look at is maybe having the championship round earlier, because as you know, with the NFL, they added the week 18, and the week 18 has all been, I think, interconference games, right? So
all of them?
I believe so. I believe all of them are. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because a scenario like that I'm in now with Derrick Henry, they're benching him basically because this week doesn't matter because they need to win next week against Jacksonville to get into the playoffs. So we kind of get into those scenarios as we get closer to the end of the season, which I guess last year was 17, but probably something to think about. I mean, as we kind of continue with it. Jim, I know you don't care because you're happy with it.
Sounds like an excuse if you lose or something.
No excuse. No excuse. Nah, no excuse. But
Jim's like, what are you talking about, bro?
Nah, no excuse. Never excuse. Tony Pollard is gonna bring me the ship, and he's gonna dance on you, man. He's gonna dance on you. So, but yeah, that's my last word. That's my last word. I hand it over to you.
All right. I really don't have much more to say. The game will play. There'll be a winner come Monday, 11 o'clock sometime, and I'm just happy to be here, honestly, and everything else is just icing on the cake.
You playing with house money. With house money. Jim is
totally stoked.
And Jim right now is the team that, like you said, Peak's a little bit nervous. I think Peak's a little bit worried that I had to play this guy.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I didn't want to play Jim because that's why I tried to take you out early because I know how it is playing Jim. I have PTSD flashbacks on 2 losses in the Super Bowl. But I'm going to take the positive. I'm going to be the optimist and say, you know what? This is for a reason. I got to take him out because he took me out early. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Cap off because you basically had the season that I had last year. You had 12-3. I was 11-4 last year.
Yeah,
I lost in the Super Bowl in a tough game. I mean, we both put up numbers. My team didn't poop the bed or anything. We just lost by like 1.5.
And you'll take those. You'll take that. Yeah, I mean, it's rough.
You lost, but you can't be too mad because your team at least showed up. My Super Bowl loss to Jim, my team didn't show up. It was over like Sunday afternoon. I was like, all right, Jim, man, you got me. It was that. My team was just like non-existent. But luckily, you guys' teams are both relatively healthy. I don't think those guys that are questionable are going to be out.
Yeah,
they'll end up playing.
I do too.
So Jim,
something interesting.
Anything before we sign off? Nothing to say. Jim said, "No, I'm good. Hey, ice water in my veins.
Yep,
we're good.
We're good.
I'm ready for. So everybody, like and subscribe to the channel. This episode is also going to go out on Anchor. So it's kind of long, so it's like 48 minutes, but. You got, it'll be on Anchor if you just want to listen it back on. I'll probably release it on that later tonight or early tomorrow morning. So I'll send you guys a link out. You could take a listen to it. I'll put this audio first, and then I'll edit the video and put that out a little bit later. But we'll talk after the season, guys. Best of luck to both of you bums.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, man.
We'll talk next
time. Thank you so much, guys. Take care, everyone. Appreciate it.